if you incentivize somebody to do the right thing, because all of us want to do the right thing, it is really not the wisest way to do the bad and to be happy about it. So if we incentivize the white gray hat hackers or black hat hackers and even white hat hackers to do the right thing, and we assure them that they're gonna get paid for doing so, they'll do that.
Welcome to Mission DeFi with Brad Nickel, where we explore projects in decentralized finance that are innovating and driving our mission of financial freedom forward. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, and review Mission DeFi and spread the word by posting a tweet to the show. All opinions expressed by Brad Nickel or his guests are their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Black Knox, Material Indicators, or any other affiliated organizations. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Brad Nickel or his guests as an inducement to make a particular investment, follow a particular strategy, or become involved with any project. A project being featured on the show is not an endorsement of that project in any way. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Now, here's Mission DeFi with Brad Nickel.
All right, I am excited today to have on Mission DeFi Fao and Alejandra from Hats Finance. And I really like the role that Hats is playing in the ecosystem to protect us, help us all be safer about what we're doing, and help protocols in the space be safer. But I'm going to let them tell you exactly what they're doing. But let's start by getting to know the two of them a little better. So Alejandra, could you introduce yourself? Tell us about your journey into crypto and your background and why you're here, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my name is Alejandra. I am the community manager at Hats Finance. So usually anything that happens on Twitter, Medium, Discord, I am usually have some part of it. I am also helping with a lot of the partnerships, like the podcast, making sure like the announcements happen properly. So that's my role within Hats. I actually got into crypto because I was going to school to be a teacher in college. And I met somebody that was mining using the dorm's computer.
That's a classic
Right.
story.
At the time, I was like, I was as a side job, I was like waitressing and doing a lot of like jobs you do as a young person.
Uh-huh.
And I remember, this friend used to tell me how much money he will make and how it worked. And I was like, oh, he's a little, like weird, scammy. Like, I don't know about that. But later on, I opened my mind into it. And that was like my first exposure. Later on, like Bitcoin, I think at the time was like 15K was like, oh my God, it's like so much money, like the highest, the peak, many years ago. And then I remember I was started trading and I made a bunch of money and then I lost it. And then I made a bunch and then I lost it again. But that kind of was like my first exposure to like what could really happen. And when I graduated college, I knew I wanted to be in the ecosystem, but I didn't have a tech degree. So I moved to the Bay Area and I told myself I'm going to go to every single crypto meetup and I'm going to meet people. And I met a couple people. I met one friend that actually connected me to Hats, and the rest is history. Now I've been working with Hats for almost a year now.
That's fantastic. You've kind of went down a classic path there. I love the mining dorm room stories. One of my favorite is, I don't know if you're familiar with Sam Kazmian from Frax, but he started by mining Doge in his dorm room, and that's how he got the bug. And then, of course, we all think we're going to be brilliant traders. So, and it's going to be easy, especially in a bull market. And then we find out what reality's like. So, no, that's great. That's great. Fao, tell us about yourself and how you got into this.
Oh yeah, so this is Fao. I'm working in the growth team of Hats Finance. I got involved in crypto in mid 2017. It was like I was one of the few people who was speaking in English, and one of the rich friends told me like, I'm looking for something to invest. Can you please search about how to invest in crypto? That's how I got involved. I thought if he's gonna make money here, why don't I also do it?
That makes
And
sense.
then yeah, definitely. And then I made a good amount of money until the 2017 climax, and then lost a great deal of money with the downfall in 2017. And then seeing that it's gonna be really hard to trade spots in the bear market, I started an addiction of leverage trading, which
Oof.
was, yeah, which was
Oof.
like one of the bad decisions in my life, which I still regret. It is not totally about money, but it was really psychologically consuming for me.
Yeah.
It was 24/7 charts on my mind. When I
Oh.
was sleeping, I was opening position, getting liquidated, or closing in profit. So
Oh,
it was like, yeah.
that's
And then
crazy.
uh, my friends who were still making good money in the sports trading encouraged me to, don't get involved more with leverage trading. It's not really working with you. So come trade with us, do things with us. We have recently started initiating investing to projects at early stage as private investors. And
Nice.
since you're speaking English, so let you do the introduction to the projects. You are familiar with the fact that in the bull market, it's really hard to find project to invest into because everybody is like spending money on the projects and nobody's accepting private investors and so forth. And that also got me involved in the marketing side of the crypto, like both spot trading, investing as private investor, and then getting involved in the marketing because the projects don't accept us only as the money. They're always
Yeah, they
saying,
wanted you to provide more value.
yeah, what else are you gonna give us? What else are you gonna give us? And then, Turkey has a brilliant community in crypto, and like almost all projects are interested in creating a Turkish community. That's how we managed to get into the private investments in the like late bull market stages, which really made cool amount of money. So it was good. That's actually that was actually the way that I reached out to the Heads Finance, seeing their protocol getting community rocked and scammed a few times in my DeFi experience, especially the pancake swaps, so on and so forth. So I like the idea of Heads Finance and reached out to them and trying to be private investor to them, and then them seeing my ambition towards their project, and I'm telling about them how I reach out to the projects as a private investor, what I can do for them, how I can share my contact network, so on and so forth. Then I started working for Headsteiners.
That's great. So why don't you tell us, you guys tell us a little bit about what Hats Finance is, and then if you can kind of give us, how this all came about, why it came about, and then we can get into more about how it functions, right, and how people make use of it.
So one of our co-founders, Shai, he was building Ethereum 2.0 client side. He came up with the idea in the DeFi summer, and then he was like, "There are many community rock scam projects going around in the market, so why don't we do something about it? If you incentivize somebody to do the right thing, because all of us want to do the right thing. It is really not the wisest way to do the bad and to be happy about it. So if we incentivize the gray hat hackers or black hat hackers and even white hat hackers to do the right thing, and we assure them that they're gonna get paid for doing so, they'll do that, and this is gonna help the community, crypto adoption, mass adoption, so on and so forth. Because you invest in crypto, you get drugged, you get robbed, so on and so forth. This is gonna be bad for the mass adoption,
Right.
because especially the DeFi side requires more than a bit of research, more than a bit of understanding of how the things going around, maybe a basic understanding of coding, understanding contracts, so on and so forth. And compared to the at that time, the prices were really skyrocketing, and the costs of audits were like crazy, and many projects that we were in contact with was always complaining about how expensive it was to get audited. I personally know a project who only got audited their staking contracts for like 100K in the bull market. It's only one single staking contract, and it's
Oh, that's
100K.
crazy, man. That's ridiculous.
Definitely. And compared to the audits, which is like a snapshot, we wanted to, provide an infrastructure for an ongoing security effort, which is ongoing bug bounty. Like, there are lots of white hats out there, there are lots of developers out there, some of which find bugs while trying to integrate their protocol to another, so on and so forth,
Right.
which want the DeFi space to go to the better stage, not to the worst stage. So it's like there are many people who are trying to contribute to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And why not incentivize them all to do the right thing? That was the idea how Heads Finance was initiated.
That's awesome. So could you kind of walk through then what this process is? I'm familiar with companies in the space, that another company in the space that I've interviewed that does this in a similar fashion, but you guys are actually more decentralized in the
Mhm.
approach to this. But if you could, for people that are not familiar with how these bug bounties work, could you walk us through kind of example of a project, what it offers, what it does, how it sets up with Hats Finance, and then what the community of gray hats and black hats and white hats actually do to earn money to help these?
Sure. So let's say that you have a project named X, and I, by any chance, came across a vulnerability at your contracts. I
Right.
have two options: either report it, disclose it responsibly, or exploit it, drain the funds. With option A, I have like one of the historic problems with being white hat is that I don't know you. I don't know your team. I don't know if you are gonna treat me fairly. We
Right.
receive messages from security researchers on a weekly basis, like I disclosed the vulnerability to this project, and now they're only ghosting me. They fixed the issue. They deploy the fix on their GitHub, so on and so forth. But now, or it might also be the situation like they only paid me $100,000 compared to 2 million user funds at risk, so on and so forth.
Yep.
This was the problem that we actually wanted to target to solve, and this is how decentralization help us solve it. When you put the bounty on chain, this is the bounty that you are promising to pay the white hat hackers. So I don't know if I'm privileged to share this, but recently we were made privy to an information that a project who had a bounty of like some big bounty didn't have the amount in their treasury to pay the white hat hacker.
Oh my
You know?
God. Seriously?
Yeah, definitely. So you are promising to the white hat that I'm gonna pay you this amount if you do the right thing, and then I'm not doing it. If I am the gray hat or white hat in this situation, I don't know. I'm gonna be the good guy in my next
Exactly.
vulnerability spot.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
it's all about aligning incentives, right? So essentially, the idea here is that it's next to impossible for any protocol team to cover every potential exploit, and exploits can be actual hacking, and exploits could also be manipulating the system that was developed and launched to actually drain funds, right? So there's a number of ways. So, for example, Beanstalk Farms was not hacked per se in the protocol itself, but
Yeah,
its
governance
governance
attack.
mechanism was exploited. And technically they put out code that made that possible, right? And so at the end of the day, you want people that are not only looking for code vulnerabilities, but also looking for functional vulnerabilities, things that can be manipulated or utilized, flash loans, et cetera, that can be used to drain funds. And so these protocols, number one, they spend a ton of money on audits, and there are some not so great auditors out there collecting big fees who don't really do great work. And I'm not going to name any names, but I have been privy to conversations with founders who are extremely pissed off about the amount of money they paid people that didn't know what they were doing. And secondarily, even the best auditors are not going to catch everything. And we just haven't reached that stage where there's an artificial intelligence that can find everything or anything else, right? We've got a long ways to go to making DeFi purely secure and safe. And so what you all provide is a mechanism for the founders of a protocol or the DAO of a protocol to deposit, and tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but to actually deposit the bounties, make sure they are there. And then when a white hat hacker finds something and it's verified, then the funds get released to them. Is that essentially how it works?
Yes, so it is. So the other thing I did wanted to add that makes Hats Finance very unique is, yes, when what happens is a project, and we're working on, eventually we're launching V2 very soon. That
Nice.
announcement should be coming out um, very soon. I'm working on it, but um,
Are you writing the code, Alejandra?
I'm not writing the code. I'm writing the community article,
I'm just
which is
playing with
gonna
you.
tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
So, um, but the really cool thing about it, something that we're working on, is that eventually projects don't even need to talk to any of us, anybody in the team, to be able to create a bug bounty, right? If I am a project and maybe I'm Anon, or maybe I just don't have the time to get on a meeting with anybody on the team, I can just go into the website, plug in a couple things that the code is asking me, and automatically create
A
a bug
bounty.
bounty on
Nice.
hats. So that's something that we're working on, and there's going to be a lot of different functionalities as well that are going to come within B2. But it's very, very exciting. But when it comes to the other aspects that I think make Hats Finance very unique from other traditional bug bounty projects, the first one is it is encrypted, in the sense that when hackers disclose a vulnerability, it directly goes to the team in an encrypted message. So
Nice.
what that means is that every project has a committee. If you go into our D app, you will see that every bug bounty will have a committee. When a white hat hacker discloses a vulnerability, it directly goes to them. So there's also this aspect that we're not KYC. So, for example, one main example that I'm thinking right now that we have came across is, with everything going on in Russia and Ukraine, a lot of talent, a lot of security talent from both countries are not able to access bounties because of regulation. So with us, as long as, again, you have a wallet and you can disclose a vulnerability, it doesn't matter your location. Anybody, anywhere can make money with Hatspot bounties if they
Nice.
do the right thing. The other thing is the community aspect to it, which means that anybody can become what we call a chain protector. Because let's say, Brad, you are a community member of a project that you love and you care for, you obviously want to ensure that this project doesn't suffer any attacks in the future. So what you can do as a user is you can come in, put some of your tokens into the bug bounty, so you can help the project become a protector, and in return um, you can enter to get hats tokens as well once the token becomes available. So you kind of do like some of this liquidity mining, which is gonna come again once the token is out. But we did launch our series of articles about our airdrop machine, which I encourage everybody to go and read the articles. Feel free to also ask me questions. But yeah, I really love the idea that anybody can come in and become a chain protector, because I think today, with traditional bug bounties, the average person, the average user, that's the one getting wrecked with the projects, does not understand security, does
Right.
not get involved in security, and there's not like a lot of opportunities for them to get educated about how this system works. And I think Hats is really able to bridge the two worlds.
No, that's fantastic. And so I want to make sure people understand this. Theoretically, not only could the protocol create bounties from their treasury, but the members of that community can help shore it up. So, and this is interesting because I think as we progress further, especially after we've kind of seen the wreckage of centralized cryptocurrency providers, FTX, et cetera, and people are moving off centralized and into our world and trying to figure it out. And with the threat of kind of looming regulations, I think more projects are going to start being radically decentralized. So when I say radically decentralized, I think of projects like Liquidity, right? Liquidity is radically decentralized. The code is launched. It's on chain. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can change it. Nobody can do anything, right? So there's some inherent risk there with regards to it. So I think we're going to see um, I think we're going to see more truly decentralized communities around farms, and we'll see founders backing away from their projects. And so what happens then is if you've got an engaged community of thousands of people, but you don't have founders saying, "Hey, we need to do this bug bounty program," then then it's not going to happen. But if a community can individually or as a community do it themselves, Hats provides that ability, right? Hats provides the ability for me to get engaged. I could put $1,000 into a bug bounty program. And then it sounds like when I put it in, I can actually earn on that money Hats tokens because I'm actually supporting my favorite project or a project I'm invested in heavily by helping to provide the bounty. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Oh, there is one thing that needs to be fixed. The community cannot on itself initiate a bug bounty on our protocol because, it has to be the team in the committee because a vulnerability submission is a sensitive data. It
I got
might
you.
be $100 million
Yeah,
at
yeah, that makes
risk
sense.
that cannot be
Yeah, yeah.
disclosed to a community member. But
Sure, sure.
there was a case, I don't want to name the project. The community pushed the team to do it, and then they did it.
Nice.
Once the community is ignited about it, caring much about the security of the project, especially when the team is anon, when the team is anon, there might be some trust issues with such a project. The community did an awesome job. They did the proposal themselves, they pushed the team themselves, and then they kind of self onboarded the project to Heads protocol.
Nice. Right. So, well, yeah, essentially what you're saying is you don't want anybody that puts up a bug bounty money for a bug bounty to be able to just have the vulnerability exposed to them because then, okay, I'll put $1,000 in and now I get to find out every vulnerability for these projects, right? You can just do 500
Yeah.
projects. Yeah, dumb me.
And there is one more thing to do it, if the team doesn't really care about the security of the project, it's gonna be utile for the community to do it for themselves. The team should put the
They
skin
have to
in the
make the
game
change.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, the team should put the skin in the game first, and then we can allow the community to put their money at stake.
That's
Otherwise, it's
awesome.
gonna be. Mhm.
Yeah, look, it makes total sense. Like, and it may be that a DAO treasury may not have a ton of money left in it, right? As the market goes down, people have had difficulty managing their treasuries. There's a lot of folks who lost their treasuries on FTX that are locked up. Their treasuries are locked up in FTX because they raised from Alameda. So I can definitely see the value of, hey, the team sets it up, puts up what money they can from the protocol itself. And then I, as a community mentor, can contribute to that bug bounty program. And then I can earn from what I'm putting in to help support my project, right? Is that the correct way to say it?
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely. And it doesn't also have to be the community. It might also be the investors. Let's say that I have $1
Mm,
million worth of investment to X token. If the X token is hacked or exploited, then the value of my investment is gonna drop drastically.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I can hedge like my risk by allocating 2%, 3%, 5% of my investment to a bug bounty, make it scalable so that it's going to be a high reward for the white attacker. It's going to be more incentivizing for them to do the right thing.
Yep.
And this is going to help the project, token, your investment, so on and so forth. And one more thing, the audit companies might be pissed about it, but we have recently started to advise projects to ask their auditors to put an allocation of the money they take as the audit into the bug bounty.
I like
Because
that.
yeah,
I
because like
like that. Put your money
1990,
where your mouth is.
definitely 95% of the projects which get wrecked are audited, and
Nice.
sometimes it happens like 1 week after the audit, 2 weeks
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
audit. This is
Yeah,
what
because the
we are calling.
vulnerabilities are seen and can be seen. That's a brilliant idea. What I love about what you just told us about is you know, there's a tendency in this community to kind of think, oh, things get deployed and they just grow and it's all magical and it's wonderful. But you guys are actually thinking about how you're targeting the market, right? So you're saying to yourselves, okay, venture capitalists, investors, angels, whomever, they have a vested interest, especially if their tokens are vesting, if they're locked up. Like it's horrible to be in a lockup, and I've been there and watch a protocol collapse, right? And you can't do a damn thing to get your money out. You can't sell it. You can't do anything. So I love kind of that fear biz dev angle for venture capitalists, right? It's almost something that if you guys insert yourselves into the process early enough with the investing rounds, is you can even have venture capitalists saying, not only will we invest in you, but we're also going to set this up to protect ourselves and to protect you. So you guys set up with Hats Finance, we'll help fund it, right? And you guys now have the mechanism to help them do that. But I also love the idea of, here's the auditors that put up and back their audit by also putting into the Hats bug bounty program for Protocol X, right? That's really brilliant. I love to see where you guys are going with the marketing and the biz dev. That's smart. That's great. That's very cool. How do you guys, speaking of biz dev, how are you guys out getting? I mean, are you out aggressively knocking on doors and talking to protocols and saying, "Hey, you should be using us"? Are you targeting people that don't have a bug bounty program at all? Are you targeting people that have already invested in other bug bounty programs and saying, "Hey, why don't you come over here where it's easier, permissionless, your community can get involved, etc." How are you approaching that?
I think we are in a very privileged stage because we are only providing the infrastructure to make the teams meet with the white hat hackers. So there is no any limitation for us to onboard projects. They might have a bounty with one of the Web2 service providers or somebody else. But again, they might get onboarded on HATS protocol to reach more white hat hackers. Or if they don't have any bug bounty, then we do a speech, or we participate in the community calls, give a speech about good security practices. And especially it's good when there's a community involved, because as the team you have to accept that the security is first in front of the community.
Yeah,
And the attraction we are getting is awesome, even if the projects sometimes say that, okay, our treasury is not really in a good position to support this initiative, but we love the vision you are putting into Web3. We love the vision you contribute to the security in the DeFi space. We are going to be a fan of you forever, and we'll definitely hop on when we are in a better position financially.
that's awesome. And do members of are members of your community out like aggressively marketing Hats Finance for you in the communities where they're already involved in a project?
So we have an ambassador program that they do a really good job. What we love about our ambassador community is a lot of different languages, and a lot of them go into their own communities in their languages and tell people about bug bounties.
Nice.
They kind of push for it, and then if they get people interested, and then they're like, then they start asking the founders and the developers, "Hey, when bug bounty, right?"
Right.
What's gonna happen? So we have seen some community members. So actually, Servet was part of our ambassador program, and
Oh,
because he was doing such a good job, like the team decided to bring him full time. So
nice.
it's one of the testament of like how important community is for projects. So we do have a rock star once in a while that like does amazingly, but then we also have like all of our community that's always helping us retweet, telling other people about it. I work closely with the Spanish team, and the Spanish team, they've really been helping us reach out to like Spanish hacker communities and telling people about what we do, helping them understand how they can profit from bug bounties. We also have some of them that introduce us to projects. Sometimes with a lot of these like smaller projects, sometimes they don't have like the funds to like make a bug bounty, or maybe they're racing. So yeah, but we do see a lot of involvement from community, and they want to see more projects come in.
So the ambassador program, that's something where people can actually they can make money from bringing in projects to the space.
Yeah, so we actually have we've had it for a while, but we do have a referral program, which if you bring in a project and they open a bug bounty with at least, I think it was 25,000, the person that introduced us can get up to $1,000 as well.
Nice.
So as a referral. So we do have one person that did an introduction. He was also part of our ambassador program. that introduced us to a project. And I think that's the only one we have paid so far. But if anybody makes that
Yeah.
introduction, I mean, we will pay you.
Well, we have a lot of listeners that are aggressive members of their communities that they are invested in. And so, hey, everybody, reach out to Fao and Alejandra with your contact information is in the show notes. But, push your projects. Look, at the end of the day, I want everybody to make money, but I also I want the reputation of DeFi to get better. And what you guys provide is the ability for things to become safer and stronger, and provide an example to the rest of the world about how communities can work, right? Because of the structure that you guys have set up. So that's fantastic. I'll make sure. Is there a link on the website you guys can send me after the show to sign up for the program? I'll put it in the
For
show
the
notes.
referral program,
Sure. Yeah.
we have an article. So
Oh,
what we
okay.
can do is I can share the article with you.
Yeah. Send me the link and I'll put it in. That's great. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. All right. So we've got a system here that allows people to sponsor bug bounties that their favorite protocols have set up. They will be able to earn hats tokens. What's kind of the stage of that, and when is all of the token stuff coming together? And you don't have to give me hard dates because I know those things don't always happen that way. But generally, if people wanted to get involved in hats, wanted to become stakeholders in the platform, in the project, what's happening and when and how do they do that?
Yeah, so again, we cannot share a lot of info on dates,
Okay.
but I would like to say it's coming soon. I think a lot of projects got affected because of the current market situation. Fortunately, we were not in any shape or form involved with like the whole FTX, but we are waiting for the market to get better for
Sure.
us to be able to launch it. Um, Again, I don't know when. I'm hoping in the upcoming months, but we're just waiting it out.
All right. That's cool.
PG, but I do encourage everybody to go ahead and read our airdrop machine article, which means that
Hint,
even
hint.
if you don't deposit into the project, there's other ways that you could participate in the TGE. One of
Nice.
them is being part of our ambassador program. If you're a security researcher that has participated in any of our CTFs, or if you have participated in any of our competitions, um, if you have if you have a Crow NFT, we have different NFT collections. You also qualify. So there's different ways people can participate. And we do have an airdrop machine that's going to distribute periodic rewards after the TGE. So again, I do think that's an incredible way to get to learn from the community about like what they like, but
Right.
also continue to reward new people, because something that I've noticed with like the one drop and done is that you kind of, you know, give a bunch of money to degens that, like a lot of times, I'm not saying everybody, they're just in it for a quick minute. They
Yep.
don't stay.
Yeah. Take the
So
money and go.
yeah, exactly. So we want to make sure that we are both benefiting, people that support us early on, but also community that are going to join us later on and are going to make a huge impact. So there is a lot of opportunity for people that, whether you join today or you join tomorrow or you join next year, there is an opportunity for you to take advantage of our benefits. So again, like I really encourage everybody to go and check our airdrop machine article.
Cool. How many people are on the overall team between like developers and you guys? How many people total?
That's a good question. I will say over, I think it's like 15 of us.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a sizable
around
team.
that.
And
Around that.
when
Some
did it
people are
launch?
part
Sorry.
time.
Go
Some
ahead.
people are part time and some people are full time.
Got it. Okay.
Um, I think it was launched 2 years ago.
Okay.
Am I correct, Sorbet?
I think it was launched 1 year ago,
One
which
year
is,
ago.
yeah, already
Okay.
earlier than. Mhm.
And then currently, how how many do you have you guys recruited a bunch of protocols that are in the system already, or where do things stand overall with the number of bug bounties and what's available for hackers to take a look and earn?
So currently there are 24 projects with bug
Nice.
bounties on Heads protocol. It's like $2.5 million TVL or something, considering the size of the bounty.
Nice.
And there are a good amount of projects waiting for our V2, because
Mm.
currently we are only on mainnet Ethereum, but it's
Ah,
gonna be Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, hopefully soon Binance Smart Chain. And
nice.
that will also be the opportunity for the projects to use multiple assets to fund the bounty. Some projects generating revenue with different tokens, so they are also waiting for the multiple asset token to launch their bug bounty.
Sure.
Hopefully this price is gonna be doubled in January at latest.
Nice. Very nice. Wow, that's fantastic. I'm really excited for what you guys are doing. I definitely would love to see more people engaged with it. Um, is there other things about it that we need to know about? Anything about version 2 we need to know about, or did we cover almost everything today?
So there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna come in with B2.
Okay.
Some of them is gonna be the multi-token aspect to it, being able to get rewards not just from hats but also projects. Let's say, ideally, let's say you a project gives you rewards, right, already.
Right.
Come in and use their tokens, you get both rewards from hats, and then you can also get rewards from the project. These are things that we're working on. We're also going to support other blockchains as well outside of just Ethereum. Um, we're gonna be dropping a lot of the different features that are gonna come in. So
Cool.
hopefully by next week or the following week latest, we should have that article ready. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Hats Finance, or you can also join our Discord, and we're always happy to answer any questions.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I want to thank both of you for coming on. I'm excited about what you're doing. I want to get further engaged with the project because I think it's critical. And I love the fact that this is something decentralized. It'll be completely permissionless later. I really think it's a great path to be on. And I think the potential for growth of this thing is pretty significant. Not financial advice to anyone listening, but I definitely think it's something to keep an eye on and see how you guys are doing. And it looks like you're doing great stuff. So thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about it.
No, thank you for inviting us. This is exciting.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. It's a good story.
Thank you
Amazing.
for hosting us.
Thanks, man.